It all started when I began to walk with God. So in case you're interested in learning how to walk with God, I'll just tell you my own story. One of the most enjoyable parts of being a creator of content is conversations you get into with people. And sometimes they're a little sharp, but other times you talk to people who are really different from you, but it's a good conversation. You know, you're sharing your perspectives. And so I meet some people who have walked away from the Christian faith. They used to believe in Jesus. They used to go to church. They used to have, you know, they would have said they were Christians, and now they've left it all behind. And I get in conversations with them, and it all comes down to the same thing for me. Did you have a personal experience with Jesus? Because if it's just about doctrine and tradition and your family's habit of going to church, I can see circumstances where you would leave virtually any religion. By the time I was 15, 16, I was doing drugs every single day, sometimes more than once a day, and that went on for years. And so while my family was still carting me off to church, I wasn't having a personal experience with God. But I remember the day when it happened to me, and when the Lord just broke through my mind, and that started my real life with God. So it's got to be more than a religion. It's got to be more than doctrine. It's got to be more than your culture. It has to be a relationship, and it has to start somewhere. And I'm saying this because it is possible to walk with God. It's not an impossible thing. It's not too hard for you. It's not something for super people. Every human is designed to walk with God. And we have this hole in us, you know, and you can put money there, and you can run after all the things in the world, you know, money, sex, and power, and even good things, you know, family and friends and success in business, and you can do all of that, and you're still never going to be able to fill that empty space inside, because it was made for God. God intends for all humans to walk with Him. And I think you can walk with God. I think He wants you to walk with Him, and that you and I have been designed to do that. And for me, it just started with drawing a circle on the ground, getting inside the circle and saying, I'm here to talk to you, you know, Chuck to God, and just stay there. And I remember in my very first days in college, once I met the Lord, committed myself to Him, I was determined I wanted to really know Him. So yes, I read the Bible, and yes, I did a lot of other things, went to church, but the two things that made it come alive to me was, number one, worship. There are things that just happen. You can pierce the veil. You know, like the Bible describes this world as the interplay between a visible physical dimension, like Jamaica, how beautiful, the mountains and this roof and, you know, my body, the physical, visible dimension. And then there's another layer on top of that, which is just as real, but you can't see it. Sometimes you can, but usually you can't. But you can perceive it. You can learn to be affected by it. And sometimes people are affected and they don't even know, because there's a darkness in that realm, and there's the beautiful light of God in that realm too. So to learn to push through and worship, like real worship, not this show-off stuff where they got to have smoke and lights and work you up, you know, with all these emotional triggers. But I just mean, get you some simple song that doesn't modulate 4 times. Just get you a simple song with words that matter, and get with people that love God, and just sing and close your eyes and try to make your inside person rise up and reach through and touch Him, and you can do it. Worship is really important. And so I started with corporate worship, where I'm with other people, and then I learned to do that same thing all by myself. Like, I don't have to be in church to sing songs to God. One day I was riding down the highway. I was in Atlanta, and I was going around 285, which is their big beltway. And I looked in the car next to me, and there was this woman, and she was in the car, and she was trying to drive her car, but she had one hand lifted up, and tears were going down her face, and she was singing, and she was worshiping, and I thought, I know just what you're doing. I know exactly what you're experiencing, because once you start reaching out in your heart toward God to try to touch Him and try to feel him hugging you and feel his favor on your life, once you reach out to him like that and you break through with that and you learn to love that experience, the door is open to you. That door will always be open to you. And that's the beautiful thing that Jesus came to teach us. You don't have to climb 1,000 steps and crawl on your knees across asphalt and do 25 animal sacrifices. The door is open. Jesus has opened the door to God's throne. We are accepted with him, and humans can break free and come to him. So to learn to worship God on your own, to speak sincere words to God, it is like, for me, it's the basis of walking with God, a sincere desire to know him and to be honest before him. Sometimes I meet people, and I guess it's their religious background, but it's always sort of like their only need for God is to do deals. It's their only interest in him. They don't want to know him. They just want to do deals. They want God to protect them, make them win, make them get the big raise and give them a bonus and help them find somebody to marry. And it's like, they're just using him. They don't want to know him, but he wants to know you, and he wants to know me. And I discovered he wanted to know me. And so worshiping God all by myself, and that I was going to make a time in the day to do that. Now, over the years, I have tried to stop making it a time. And I've tried to just open my eyes in the morning and say, "Good morning, Father, I'm your son." And just start my worship. I sing to him throughout the day. I got the idea from Brother Lawrence, old monk from centuries ago. And he just said that at his point in his life with God, he said, "I've abandoned all form of devotions. I just start worshiping, and I try to never cut off my conversation. Don't think, just pray." And that's the second thing. Like once I learned to worship God and get my heart settled, then the second one was to talk to God. And that sometimes a ritual of prayer is good, but not just the repeating of words over and over. Jesus said, don't think because you say something 50 times that God's going to hear you more than if you just said it once and said it from your heart. It's not like I did 1,000 Hail Marys or whatever to God. Just talk to God. But sometimes it's good to have a routine for your thoughts. And Jesus taught us one, the Our Father prayer. It's not just you memorize that and say it over and over again, but every line of it is a new way of thinking. So it's like, talk to God about this, now talk to God about that. And it was a pattern of prayer. So whatever system you're going to use, and sometimes I might have a written prayer, and then it's my time to just go for a walk and talk to God, or like this, sit on the roof of a house and talk to God. And this has been my journey since I was 19 years old. I have been walking with God since I was 19. And that's not a big statement. It's not like, I'm really pious, I've been walking with God. Anyone who wants to can walk with God. But the point is, you have to agree with God. God's not going to agree with us. The scripture says, how can two people walk together, get in step with each other, unless they are agreed? So that's really the first step in knowing God, is you got to agree with God in your heart. So many things that humans do are just selfish. And so we want to do it our way, and we just want God to bless that. And we want to stay selfish, but stay blessed. And it does not work like that. So I have to bring myself to God, admit that I am off track, humble myself to him, and say to him, I admit that I am wrong and selfish and sinful, and I want you to change me. Would you take me and forgive me? And then would you begin your work of transformation in my heart until I love what you love and I hate what you hate, and I follow your desire as my rule for how I live my life. And that's repentance. That's the beginning of your journey with God. But you can start right now. You can start wherever you're at. You can turn to God wherever you're at in your life, and however deep or far you might think you're away from him, or if you have 2 million intellectual questions about creation and everything. The Bible and church and Christians being hypocrites. And you can have all of your difficulties. That's not about God. That's about the human system of people trying to walk with God. But you have the decision, and you have to make the decision of whether you're going to walk with God or not. So seek Him, and this is His promise. You will find me when you seek me with all your heart. And I found that to be true. You know, just seek Him and seek Him and seek Him and talk and talk and talk and pray and pray and pray and sing and sing and sing and just pursue that relationship, because we're honestly so distractible now more than ever because of cell phones. We're just so distractible, and we have to get ourselves to be bigger humans than that and give God our very best effort and attention. I promise He'll reward you for this. He will reveal Himself if you will seek Him. I'd love to hear about your walk with God. I would love to hear about, even if it's your frustrations and the struggles that you're having, I would love to dialogue with you about that. So just reach out in the comments. And I think all of us, there's a lot that we can share with each other, because this is a journey that we're all on at some level. So reach out, drop comments there. Let's start talking to each other, and we'll do this journey together.